right, Coach, they jumping in now, Coach. They jumping in.
Yeah, I see.
Hey, SWAC, excuse me, Celebration Bowl week.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
One game for all the marbles.
I think HBCU Coaches Corner, we called this one back in August.
Yeah.
All these naysayers. We got it right, Mr. Campbell.
Yeah, man, that's why you the coach.
Hey, I'd like to welcome everybody to the HBCU Coaches Corner. My name is Rocky. I'm your host, along with my co-host, the Rattler himself, the Bishop, the detective, none other than Stephen Campbell. And with no further ado, you all know who our featured host is. The incomparable, the irrepressible, the dominating, the championship coach, none other than Johnnie Cole. All right, we got something we want to share with you, and with no further ado, I'm going to step away and let my man, Mr. Campbell, handle it from here on out.
You know, the one thing about HBCU Coach Corner, we got all these people they are called podcasters. We're not podcasters. We're prognosticators. We're people that predict the future based off of facts and knowledge. See, we don't play no Madden over here. We don't do no NCAA 26. We have 30 plus years of coaching experience on the screen. So, Coach, I'm going to take you back to the way back machine, okay? Way back. And I'm going to share something that happened. Because, you know, we had the Southern guys, it's Southern. You know what I mean? They own the West. That's what they say. They own the West. Southern wins another SWAC championship. But, Coach, there was a time that something happened on our show way back when we were doing the Southern, see what they were going to do for this year. And I'm going to play this right now for us. You pull this up here. Make sure we got that. There we go. And I'm going to play this right now. Coach, this is me, you, the great Perry White, and the great B.J. Jones, Southernites. And we just happened to start talking about Prairie View, and this is what they had to say. The West and rankings and things like that. Because, first of all, I got to say this. Those folks down there in Prairie View are chirping. I am not, and I do. First of all, do y'all even consider Prairie View a rival of you all's? Or
No.
Okay, I just want to clear that up. Okay, I want to clear that up.
That's
But who are you guys looking?
Campbell?
Huh?
That's some new shit going on with Prairie View. I don't know where that's coming from. That's some new shit. They talking crazy now. We ain't used to that. Like,
well, hey, listen, I was like, I had to get my popcorn. I was like, okay, Prairie View, they got Grambling, got a shook.
Well, let me tell y'all something. Y'all two Southern Jaguars. This one of my proteges at Prairie View, and he ain't just talking.
Campbell, I can't get on my side.
Be ready to damn strip it up, lock it up, and get them mouthpieces in, because I'm gonna tell you, I'm taking Dion's word. They coming.
in year one. Okay, hold on.
They coming.
In year one, coach.
They coming. They coming.
To go where? Where they going?
They coming, coach.
Where they going is what I want to know in year one, because we've been talking.
I'm gonna let you in. No, hold on. Let's go back.
Okay,
looking at the team that you guys have to face. Now, Coach, I'm gonna ask you a question. He asked you where they was going. Now, Coach, tell him where the folks is going.
Atlanta for the national championship. Not the SWAC, not the East, for the national. Jermaine Jackson, Coach Jackson, is playing in his second national championship game, Coach.
How about that?
Be live, and we'll be there.
Coach, you told them back in September. You told those Jaguars back in September, didn't you, Coach?
Coach, this young man is an exceptional football coach, believe me. And, thank God I had a chance just to see the beginning, and where he's at now is off the charts, man. And, it's a new sheriff in town in the SWAC, and we needed that over in the West. You know what I mean? I think ain't this the first time on the West side that since Southern, I think last time was it Southern who represented the West?
Well, not in the Celebration Bowl era. So right. Southern is the Grambling was the last team in the West.
Give us some stats. Give us some stats.
So they were the last team to do it.
It's great to see Southern, man. And one thing, all the decisions I made is, everybody know my relationship with Coach Jackson, but it was all based off of football. Sometimes, I try not to get my heart involved, and not necessarily heart, but, who you favor. It ain't about that when it comes to me. I make football decisions. Look, if my mama was cutting class, I cut her. I'll give her a big old hug and give her a ride home and say, "You cut," because you ain't getting it done, Coach. And I felt that I spent some time in the summer with Coach Jackson and his staff, and I knew he was going to come with a great football team. And one of the things I always say, and we get on, is that a program beats talent every time. I'm not saying you can't have talent. I'm saying a program with some little sprinkle of talent would beat it. We just seen that last week. Jackson State is a very, very talented team, but Prairie View's program beat them last week.
Well, Coach, I'm going to tell you this, and, I know Rocky's going to jump back up here in a second, but we had a watch party, and I had so many people with you and Bruce Eugene, Coach Spears, Coach Fred, that was amazed about how you all were breaking the game down. And I just want to thank you all, because that's the difference. And again, everybody has different watch parties, but on the Off Script Network and on the Rocky Miller Channel, home of the HBCU Coaches Corner, it's the only place you're going to get a watch party where Coach is going to break it down. And Bruce Eugene, Coach, did he not? You and Bruce Eugene called up plays back to back, didn't you, Coach?
Yeah, Bruce Eugene is another outstanding young coach that has came through this SWAC, very knowledgeable of the game. He understands the game inside and out. He was an exceptional player. I mean, he's one of those rare guys that can play the game and also coach the game. And, hopefully, this show has brought him out and got some people looking at him that he could get back in our conference, because we need our players. We need our former students to come back and assist in some of these HBCU programs to take them to greater heights.
Let me ask you this here, Coach. The championship game this past weekend, just so you mentioned that, where did T.C. Taylor play his college football?
Jackson State.
Okay. And did Tremaine Jackson play his college football anywhere
at Texas Southern?
And you've always told me that mattered. Now I didn't fully understand, because the people on the other side of the track don't necessarily play by those same rules when you talk about who they hire and who they select for those jobs. Can you just give me a brief explanation and share what you've shared to me many times, why it's important that when we hire somebody at HBCUs that we give the people who have had an HBCU experience an opportunity?
Well, I always say we got 40 jobs, guys. We got 40 jobs. And already in college football, over the whole look of college football, African-American guys don't get those opportunities to be head coaches. So guys like me and guys like Tremaine and guys like T.C. Taylor and Chennis Berry and these guys, these are opportunities. You know what I mean? And if we just go and give them away, and then that shrinks us. And when guys come in from the outside, we lose big bowl games, and kill off bowl games, because when these people come from the outside, they don't understand our tradition. They don't understand the fan fest and things that go on in our schools. So that throws things out. We get these young men decide to come to HBCUs. We feed them, we teach them. You know what I mean? We watch their growth. But then when it's time for them to return, we've been moving the flag. Well, you got to have some PWI experience. Oh, and now we move the flag again. You got to have played in the NFL. Man, we've taken leadership classes in these schools, man, and understand ain't nothing about a leadership class where you take somebody because they were a student of the game and never coached a game and never done, and then put him in a leadership role and a CEO role. That could never compute with me. You know, I just tell y'all a real quick thing. You know, right now I'm coaching a middle school team, and most of my players are ineligible, right? So they want to say, well, coach, now you can go play them. It's the tournament. You play them. I said, look, I can't do that conscious-wise. So conscious-wise, I can't grab a hold to this new way of hiring head coaches when we got great ones right now. We got great ones, you know, that we need to get these opportunities to, and so you know we can grow as a historically Black college and universities in our sports program, because we're not gonna get no other chances. That's the bad part about it. And as today, you know, what is that? The DEI program is gone, and there's a lot of programs where African Americans will get opportunities. And now with all this money and NIL, you know, it's gonna get less. It shrinks. So
you know, Mr. Campbell, I would mention this, Mr. Campbell. Up until recently, all of the hires that have been for ADs have all came with HBCU experience since I've been been following the SWAC. Up until just most recently, FAMU kind of broke the streak and hired a guy outside of the, you know, HBCU sphere. Has that always been the situation with ADs, though they've stayed pretty loyal? You know, they've been willing to go outside for coaches, but for ADs, has that always been the par for the course, that they get guys who are familiar with HBCUs?
Well, we talked about this when I was coming up. Many of the ADs were former coaches at those schools, and they retired and moved into the AD role. Then what you had is the next trend of the Gen X people that actually didn't coach, but they worked at the university. They had been around, that did their time, they moved through. Now what you have, because we have so many people that go to different schools, now we have people that go and apply for these jobs. But what I will say, when you're talking about, again, this new wave, when you're talking about AD Golf, when you're talking about Paul Bryant, when you're talking about Ashley Robinson, when you're talking about guys that just coming to my head, and like I said, again, I'll even put Angela Suggs in there just for knowledge. You're starting to see people, if you kind of know your school, you can make your school great. So again, AD Golf is not a Prairie View guy, but he understood the system. He knew the right guy because he understood the system. He was in it. So again, you look at Ashley Robinson and what he has done. He understands Jackson State because he's been around it. So that's what I think is important. I think, you know, we will see. And again, you know, that's why I'm saying that maybe that'll allow me, right? Can I go ahead and segue?
Absolutely.
So we do have a new AD coming into FAMU, and I'm getting a lot of phone calls. As we know, on Monday, Coach James Cozer was relieved of being the 19th head coach of FAMU. So people calling me and, you know, Mr. Cam, I know you know things. I said, man, listen, wait. I'm just a little guy. So if you want to speak intelligently, I'm going to get somebody that actually knows FAMU, that was raised around FAMU, and is going to give you an honest assessment. So let me tell you something. Let me tell you who I got. I got a Hall of Famer, FAMU Hall of Famer, 2-time All-American at FAMU, Mr. FAMU himself, the man from HBCU Game Day and all things in between, my big brother, Vaughn Wilson.
I don't want to say anything to mess up their introduction. Keep going, Steve.
Hey, man, listen. Wait a minute. Hold on. And wait a minute, because they watch too. And also helping the 220 Club in a very important role, following Mr. Jackson's footsteps. So we want to say the leader and supporter, well, not say leader, supporter, because Mr. Jackson's still at the helm of the 220 Quarterback Club that does so much for our university. Vaughn, I appreciate you coming on. And I think you're a great person, because what I don't like, and I say this all the time, Vaughn, me and I talk, we don't like false information coming out about our university. And you know, me and you get on the phone trying to stop stuff a lot of times. You know what I mean? I'll call you, hey man, did you hear this? Let's cut it out. And you have a big microphone, and I have a little bitty microphone, but I think we've done a great job. but it's just honest. This is Florida A&M University. Coach talked about championships. We come from a championship pedigree. You know what championships look like. You're born and raised. And Vaughn, before you get started, I want you to just tell people your background of how much FAMU is orange and green in your blood, so people can understand when you're talking, you ain't just some podcaster just picked up a phone and said, I can talk about FAMU, because we do have those people out there too. So Vaughn, just tell people a little bit about your background. And then I'm going to start off with this, Vaughn. What do you think did not work with Coach Colsey? And then going forward, what do you think we need to do?
Hey, Mr. Campbell, I don't mean to, but you know Vaughn. Vaughn is your guy. You are a rattler, right?
Yeah.
Right. So let some of the other, let me and Mr. Coach Cole.
Okay, wait a minute. This one thing.
Let me do.
Okay, let's reset. But I do want people. This is important. Why I'm saying this, and Vaughn's going to say this. Vaughn, just give people just a short resume of your FAMU history, so people know when they clip this, they know we got the right person. And then I'm gonna let Rocky coach, and then I'll come in the background. How about that? So Vaughn, go ahead.
First off, when you go to people's house, you speak to them. What's up, Rocky? Hey, Coach Cole, how y'all doing?
What's going on? Hey, thanks, Vaughn. Appreciate you joining us.
Hey, thank you for joining the Florida A&M Rattler Show. Go ahead.
Well, I do have a little orange and green. I'm from elementary school through high school. I went to FAMU High School. As a junior in high school, I got a scholarship to the FAMU School of Business and Industry. So I was not going to play football. First year I didn't play football. Rudy Hubbard came 2 weeks before the season, my sophomore year in college, and said, hey, my long snapper had some academic issues, and I know you long snapped at FAMU High along with punting, tight end, and defensive end. And so for the first 2 years, I was the long snapper. Punter graduated. Coach Riley was there at that time, and Coach Riley and Coach Highsmith said, we need you to step 15 yards back and be our punter. I hadn't punted in 3 years, but it ended up 2 years All-American, All-MEAC, and just continued to support the team after that. And so I think what Steve is alluding to is that when you've been around a school that long and your heart is in it, you hate to see bad things happen. We get we want our institutions to do well at all. If you know anything about FAMU, the last 20 years has been the screen machine at Six Flags. It's been up, down, holding on. Which way is this thing going? And but one thing that I've tried to do is stay consistent in that no matter what's going on, what's happening, I try to continue to garner support for the program in hopes that someone will come and stabilize it, but that our student athletes who depend so heavily on these college scholarships to get an education, that they have everything they need as far as that we can, we aren't rich, but we're able to generate funds to make their student athlete experience better. And I think that's important. And we're very proud of the things we've been able to do, like the nutrition station, big cooling chamber, scholarship money, and other things that we're able to provide. So I'm a big fan of all HBCUs. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of every HBCU because we're all fighting for the same thing, to get our young student athletes, men and women, graduated and have a great experience in college.
I know you're a rattler, but your mic is rattling a little bit right now, and I don't know if it's the it sounds like if you just unplug the USB and plug it back in, that may assist it. It's just got a little static in it.
What about now? Hold on, let me see. What about now? Is that better?
Yeah, keep talking.
Is that better? Testing 1, 2, 3.
It's still modulating, but hey,
hold on. How about I switch mics here? Sorry about these technicals, fellas.
No. You good, bro.
It's DJ. He knows with the mics.
Is that okay?
Oh, yeah. That's live and in color right there.
Okay, sorry about that before.
No, you good, bro. So I'm glad you're able to acknowledge something that many sometimes in the HBCU realm, that people are not open to admit. You said earlier that this has been an up and down ride the last 20 years at FAMU. I've just been covering the SWAC the last 5 years. And though Steve is a really good friend and I have learned so much from Steve about FAMU. There are some things that have the greatness that I've experienced through him. It almost seems like there's a duality to FAMU that I don't necessarily get when I've been there on the heights of Seven Hills, seeing the excellence of the people, seeing how much they care, seeing how well how much of an esteemed alumni exists there, and then you go through the situation with A.D. Gaucher, and then you go through the situation with hiring someone who was not on the preferred candidates list as AD. And then you go through the situation with not making it a priority to sign up your championship head coach. And then you lose your coach, and then there's a revolt against your AD having the authority to hire a coach. Then you go into the situation that I don't think is worth mentioning, that got your president fired, and then you end up getting the AD, I believe, that you needed to stabilize your program, and then that situation kind of falling through, and then we're here now. I got to ask you this straight up. How much of that is the Rattler experience, and how much of that is just a bad period for FAMU?
I would say it's just a bad period of FAMU because since 1887, there's just been so much excellence at the university. No scandals, issues, or problems to this level ever rose up before the great Dr. Frederick Humphreys came. And then when Dr. Frederick Humphreys came, the university literally hit its peak because it became the Time Magazine Princeton Review College of the Year. We're not talking about HBCU. We're talking about the #1 college in America. They were raising so many funds. There was stability, great faculty and staff on campus. Since his departure is when that roller coaster has happened. And it's been very unfortunate because the greatness that was built up all of those years before that has been jeopardized because some people don't know anything about the great years. They know about the turmoil years. Just like you said, you've been following for 5 years. You've been around FAMU, but you kind of can't process what's been going on lately. I can't process it. Nobody can process it. Nobody can explain how you have that many presidents, that many athletic directors, that many coaches just filtering in and out like a lottery machine, and you just never know what you're going to get when it comes out. It's an unfortunate situation, but also in that, although we talk about a lot of the situations that were not so great, in that mix was Milton Overton, who to me, when I was working at FAMU, I learned more about athletic administration because he had come from the University of Alabama. But his concepts were so far ahead of the administration, they hampered him. But guess what he did? He left FAMU and took those processes to Kennesaw State and took them from an FCS school to an FBS school to this year, their first bowl game. That same guy who had a plan to rebuild the field house into with suites and everything, had an architect from the University of Alabama that knew him, came and drew the diagram up. So in the process of all those failures, there was greatness that was overlooked that was never able to transpire. So I am just prayerful that at some point FAMU will level out and get off of this roller coaster and get back to being the great school that we knew for all those years. And what I said, I didn't want to overlook the greatness because during that same 5-year period, I've seen dominance on the field in multiple sports. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard for me to say this as an alum, but some of our coaches win despite. Jamie Shoup, our baseball coach, wins despite. Our volleyball coach wins despite. Willie Simmons won despite. Our softball coach, new coach, is winning despite. Our tennis teams win despite the deficiencies that they have. I can say this because I've talked to these coaches and I know. I'm just hoping that one day FAMU will stabilize and be the representative and be that flagship university again, once again, that its reputation is.
You know, Vaughn, I went to FAMU a couple years ago with Mr. Campbell for my first time. I got a chance to get introduced to Willie Simmons and some of the other staff members or whatever. And I must admit, and I mentioned on the show briefly, that I was surprised at when I showed up. What I thought I was going to see is not what I saw. What I thought I was going to see. Of course, y'all dominated on the field, but the infrastructure and facilities did not coincide with the dominance that I saw on the field. And so I was very much surprised to see that they were that dominant working with what they had and
that's exactly why I made that statement. Some of our coaches are succeeding despite. Despite what they have, and some of them will never say a word, but the university infrastructure has got to solidify, and it's never going to solidify with a changing door, because each athletic director that comes in starts a new vision, and then they leave, and the next athletic director comes in and starts an absolutely different vision, and none of them stay long enough for anything to happen. So you just get this hamster wheel. You get this hamster wheel happening.
Again, Coach Cole, he's done a great job answering my questions again, because I think that's something. Your acknowledgement of the dysfunction is a very important aspect in getting it fixed, in my opinion. Whereas a lot of institutions will glaze over it, not acknowledge that the dysfunction exists. You guys, to your credit, are really open about the dysfunction and really understand that it needs to be dealt with. I watched on the show last night. I can't remember what the show was, the name of the show, but it was a bunch of rattlers on there talking about where they need to go from here, and they were very honest and candid about the challenges that exist at FAMU, but they all were very resolute in their commitment to resolving those issues and assisting and bringing in a great coach and dealing with those infrastructure and facility issues. I'm done, Mr. Campbell.
See, so Vaughn, that was the messy part of the show that we had to get out the way to get to the business ahead. So that's just part of how we run the show. Coach, did you have anything for Vaughn before we get to why I invited him?
Man, look, I've been around black colleges since 1981, stepping foot of Texas Southern, and it happens everywhere. You know, no HBCU college is, not have gone through those things. And, the bigger colleges, they go through them too, but they got the finances and the money to go get one better. And we don't have that, Florida A&M has started off as the first team to ever win a black HBCU team to ever win a football national championship. So, football is important, and I think that, and I tell these guys when I was riding with Eddie Robinson, and he said that's the thing that always messes up when people start getting involved with the game of football or athletics and don't know nothing about it. That's when things go downhill. So that's all I had to say, man. I mean, Rocky, you did it. You put it all in one ball.
I didn't want to be disrespectful to the excellence that actually happens on the highest of Seven Hills, but I wanted to have I wanted to hear your candid response about what has happened over the past 5 years since I've been following the SWAC.
And I have to be candid, because I think it's been too often we just bury those things, and if you don't address it, you can't just bury it away. You got to address it. What we do on a weekly basis, lead a group called the 220 Quarterback Club, who raises money for athletics, raises a pretty substantial amount of money for athletics. We're trying to help. So I'm not just somebody who goes on and bashes in every opportunity I can. My university, I don't do that. I pray for us to get better, and I make my efforts with contributions. If you look on contribution lists at FAMU, me and my wife are on every one. We don't have millions of dollars to give, but we put something in the pot. And if there's any message that, Rocky, that I want to get out to every HBCU, we all have our shortcomings. But with all these alumni out there, there's a lot of help that can come from within the people that wear the colors, that show up at homecoming. Showing up at homecoming and buying a ticket at homecoming is not supporting your university, because that's a transactional. You pay the money, you get a ticket. They got to clean up after you. They got to secure the building for you, all those type things. Not saying don't go to homecoming, because they need that as well. But you got to, we as HBCU alumni have got to get into writing checks to the places that we say we love. We absolutely have to.
Well, I will say this. I made a very small donation when Angela Suggs was hired. And y'all act like I gave $1 million. The way y'all show appreciation and remind me if there's any spare change, give me lots of opportunities to give. I'll just say that via email and stuff like that. And I think that's a positive thing, that you guys reach out to your alumni and those donors who supported you guys in the past. I think that's a very
yeah, you in the loop now. You in the loop now. we gonna keep going, and it's gonna be this one thing. Say, oh man, I'm gonna go and send them $20. But that's how it's done. Man, 20-something years ago, we bought some tickets to University of Florida, and we still get stuff to this day. Every time something goes on sale at University of Florida, we get that. So that's the way that the bigger schools do it. I'm glad that FAMU has capitalized off of that. And I think all HBC, South Carolina State does a great job of it. I was an SID, and the former SID, Bill Hamilton, retired. And they had his event up there at South Carolina State, and we couldn't go. They said, if you can't go, you can send like a love offer. And we sent $50 to that. And boy, I still, every other day, I get something from South Carolina State. But that's a good thing. That's a good thing. That is consistency. Fundraising is all about consistency and giving people the opportunity and forcing the opportunity to raise funds.
Well, it's the hiring policy that bothers me, not only just at Florida A&M, throughout HBCUs. I always believed in hire your own. What I'm saying, I'm not saying have 100% employees on campus, but I am saying hire your own. Because there's some passion. When you look at these other schools, Notre Dame, I guarantee you, when you go to their human resource department, I guarantee they hire so many of their own. Or if there's a position open and we got somebody out there, that person is considered to be, one of the top candidates.
Coach Cole, when I heard you say that early on in the show, I was like, he is so correct, and I feel that way, and I believe that.
Yeah, and
one
you
of the right.
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, one of the things, in my profession, part of it being a college football coach and see it happen, with me being a graduate of Texas Southern, and how I was able to maneuver and raise. Fundraising was up, enrollment was up, Spears was up. You know what I'm saying? And then next thing boom. Things fall off, and then here come another coach. And then those fans that loved me, now they've been pissed at the school, and then they now follow another guy. And you guys are going through the same thing now, you know what I'm saying? With all this turnover, we got to believe in consistency and turnover and being able to go about looking for the right person, not your buddy, not your friend, not the right person. But again, I'll say this too. Most HBCU schools are in Republican states. Yeah, that plays a major role in it. Even our board members, we don't have $1 million board members. They give us the $1,000 board members. know much about raising a campus and running a business. We don't have that, but they're out there. You know what I'm saying? So it's bigger than this here, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, Coach Cole, when you said that earlier about TC Taylor, that strikes a point. When TC Taylor was hired and Raymond Woody were hired, I wrote an article say give them a chance because they played there. They're going to give it their all. 2 years later, TC gets a championship. Woody's finally got the Wildcats back to at least 6-6. And there's something about a former player that has a dedication. You played on that field and you've had the cheers and you want to bring those cheers back to the alumni. And you know what it means to those people. So you're going to stay that extra hour at the office. You're going to make that extra decision and take that extra effort. No secret that Quinn Gray is one of the Steve, Mr. Campbell, I'm moving a little forward. Quinn Gray is one of the leading candidates by a lot of accounts to come to FAMU. Why not? If you look at the Celebration Bowl, look at just take one game, the Celebration Bowl. 3 years ago, Chennis Berry was dominating Division II up at Benedict. 2 years ago, Tremaine was dominating Division II at Valdosta State. I talked to the athletic director, Herb Reinhardt, who hired him, and he's ecstatic for Tremaine. Great Division II coaches, for the most part, are translating to good FCS coaches. So with Quinn Gray going to the third round or second round, I don't know what round he went to this year, that's a big step. And that shows the consistency in coaching that has translated. It's translating to the Celebration Bowl this year. One of those the former Division II coaches is going to win the Celebration Bowl this year. It's translating. So when people ask me, it's not just that we want a rattler there. The translation of a great Division II coach stepping into FCS has been pretty amazing as of late.
Yeah. Now, Vaughn, let me ask you this, and because there's no problem that you got ahead, because we'll circle back around because there's a couple of things. I want to talk about, so, of course, you were there, you saw it, you played at FAMU. What went wrong with the Coach Cozy era, and what do you think we can learn from the hiring process to some of the things that were said, some of the things the way it was ran? What did you see? Because you were inside, you went and talked to the team. I know you talked to Coach Cozy. I know you tried to advise him. You remember him when we played at Florida State. So you have that type of respect on all, and I want people to understand this. Vaughn has respect. Florida State, Florida, Miami, FAMU. People know him like that, and they have a lot of respect. And I'm talking about those. And Vaughn, we came into the golden era of all those schools when they were 1, 2, and 3 in the race, in the ranking. Yeah. So we knew all those players coming through Tallahassee and things like that. But I wanted to ask you that because I think it's important, because I think what a lot of people don't understand, and all I heard was, the alumni, they were pulling the strings and they were not letting him coach and all that type of stuff and things like that. And I think you have a better answer than some of the stuff that we heard out there on the streets.
I can make it really simple. North Dakota State is in the FCS championship every year. South Dakota State. Those teams that are there, coaches get hired away and they reload with another coach, and that coach keeps that same process and they have that same success the next year.
They hire a coach off the staff and just keep.
They hire a coach off the staff and they keep it rolling.
Right.
That is what FAMU wished for with Cozy. Unfortunately, the product on the field didn't look anything like what we were expecting to see. We were expecting to see, okay, Willie Simmons over 5 years has built the process, has built the system, has built the playbook that is going to win. The reason we did not want an outside coach to come in is we wanted to give that North Dakota State, South Dakota State, University of Miami in the 80s and 90s, new coach, same results, using a lot of the same system. That is what FAMUans expected. And that is why FAMUans fought for an outsider not to come in, but someone from inside to continue what had been built. that had been proven to be successful. Unfortunately, we went off of the rails because we saw none of that. The defense didn't look like what we had seen. The offense didn't look like what we had seen, even though the coaches was there. It was like the coaches tried to instill their own systems in there, and that's not. It immediately when FAMU fans recognized that, that's when everything went south. From there, it went south. It was like you were brought here to continue the greatness, and it's almost like we're here experimenting, and that was no good. So if you ask me where the rails went off, as soon as everybody realized that they were not continuing, we were not doing a North Dakota, South Dakota State situation. We were not.
So what I'm hearing, Coach, you guys done that, but you actually went against the athletic director because she wanted to hire another guy who I thought Coach Gibbs. After I found out, who it was in his background, he's a championship coach. So that just kind of threw me a little bit. But I understood y'all process.
Let me defend the alumni a little bit. If somebody comes to your school and respects nothing about what your school traditions are, it's gonna be a hard road to plow. Yeah. Hard road to plow. And during that era, their alumni felt just completely disrespected, unheard, and like we were going away from the traditions. I got to say this, and I think I wrote an article about it. FAMUans didn't even know Sean Gibbs. They had nothing against Sean Gibbs. It was none of that ire was aimed at Sean Gibbs. It was aimed at the person trying to bring Sean Gibbs in and not allow FAMU to at least try to continue what they had invested in, because there was a lot more investment from alumni. Coach Simmons, Coach Cole, let me tell you this. Willie Simmons did a great job of getting people to open their checkbooks. Yeah. But he showed, so he got the first year, he's like, man, we need a nutrition station. So people open the pocket checkbooks, nutrition station. Saw a little improvement. Hey, man, I need our players falling out in the summertime. Can y'all get us a cooling tent? For the summer. Okay, we do that. And it kept, the donations kept going up and up and up. And when it resulted in the championship, everybody was almost like, okay, what do we do now?
Well, can I say something? I have all the respect in the world. You said one thing that I wish we had at Texas Southern was alumni who cared about the school and most of all the traditions of the school. But at the end of the day, when you chose this athletic director, who did she come from the outside, or did the alumni okay this athletic director? Because if I choose this athletic director, I'm choosing this athletic director to lead us in the right way. I got you. And she should have told you guys about Sean Gibbs, because his background was way better than Mr. Cozy's. Way better. You know what I mean?
Oh, by far. And that goes to my point. It had nothing to do with Sean Gibbs or his resume. It came out like that because people were saying we don't want him. What people were actually saying is we want to continue what we just built and invested in for over the last 5 years and have increased our donations. So let's stay on this path because we know this path can lead to success.
Let me say this, Vaughn. Now, this is just my outside opinion of FAMU, right? Y'all are Florida up and down, through and through. I don't think there's nothing more Florida than Trick Daddy, FAMU,
and Uncle Luke.
And Uncle Luke. You know where I was going. You know where I was going.
Uh-huh. All of those are Bond's personal friends at that. Let's be clear.
But my point was, and to say this, I think Willie leaned into all of that as a coach. For whatever reason, very early in the process, shortly after he was hired, I heard that Cozy's message to people around the program is that I'm not going to do what Willie did. I'm going to bring in different kind of guys. I'm going to bring in Cozy guys, not Simmons guys. And when I heard that that meant something to me because guess what? I'm from here in Central Texas. And every time a coach comes in and says, we're going to hire we're going to recruit Baylor guys. We're not going to recruit guys who just want to play football. We're going to recruit Baylor guys. I can guarantee you every time they say that, that's 3-8. That's 2-9. You understand what I'm saying? So I had heard that before, and that what did Cozy mean when he would say he's going to recruit Cozy guys, not Willie guys? What was the subliminal message behind that?
The exact opposite of why alumni pulled for him, that he was going to do his own thing and he was not continuing what Simmons did, and that created the problem that persisted. You know, it was always there. Let me tell you, I got to say this about Willie Simmons because a lot of people don't know the core of why everyone was so upset with Willie Simmons. It's the obvious that he was winning, but gun violence had hit a peak here in Tallahassee. Willie Simmons called the police department, the sheriff's department, the NAACP, and he held his own rally, and everybody supported him over at one of the community centers here in Tallahassee. Willie did that. And he was the lead, and he was there from beginning to end, and the whole city, the mayor, everybody came to support him.
Willie from that area too.
Yeah, so he was bought into the community. Yeah. So even the people across the tracks at Florida State had great respect for him. So the reason everyone was so upset, you know, that Willie was not guaranteed to retain on when he asked to do so, which was, I don't care what anybody says, that played a role in when he left. He was going to eventually leave, but it played a major role in when he left and how he left.
Yeah.
Those things are what was a problem to the alumni. Coach Cozy, I have no problem with you wanting to come in and you've got another. You're the head coach. It's on you. Your name is on the contract. Your name is on the door. You can do what you want to do. Once you get the keys, you can do what you want to do. But 12-12 is not it at FAMU. And the way that the last two games were lost. And I consider Cozy a friend. But if I'm standing on the field and you got a lead on your arch rival and you know they're about to throw deep and you get beat deep, I have had so many people to say, how did we let the guy get behind us? I have had to shrug my shoulders 1,000 times, bro. It's just Coach Cole, you know about them heels on the goal line?
Yes.
We had no heels on the goal line.
Yeah.
We had no heels on the goal line, none. We got beat on a 4th and 8 play.
Yeah, I've seen it 100 times, and you ask Mr. Campbell, I've talked to defensive coordinators all over the country on how with 20 seconds left, 8 yards to go for a first down, you're up a field goal, that you let somebody, not only was he open, it was like him catching a punt. He was so open.
Yeah.
He was waving it off like, oh, and then walked in. Yeah, that's tough, you know.
That's the unfathomable, the game, the emotions. So in my opinion, even if they had beat Valley 70-0, they couldn't recover from that loss because it was the arch rival. It was the big stage. Yeah. It was what could save your season. And to me, no matter what happened in the Valley game, I personally felt that was the end.
Yeah. Do you think it was especially devastating because he coached DBs?
And was a DB? Yeah. I never played defensive back, but I know about heels on the goal line. Rocky, let me just say this. So Bethune gets that score, right? FAMU starts driving. Guess what happened on the last play? Where FAMU's gonna throw a Hail Mary.
They put heels on the goal line.
Bethune put heels on the goal line. We throw a pass about the 15-yard line, because when you put your heels on the goal line, everything's in front of you. that defensive back came up and hit our receiver so hard. Oh my God, I felt it in the end zone. That's what heels on the goal line means. Everything in front of you.
Yeah, well,
And it's a
ask
simple
my
touchdown.
alma mater. Ask my alma mater. My alma mater did the same thing against Prairie View. 6 seconds left in the game. They're on the 17. Prairie View is up in Texas Southern is up in man coverage. They throw one right behind. 6 seconds left in the game. Yeah.
You know, one thing about that I know is coaching matters, right? In on any level of football, coaching matters, Vaughn. And one thing I've shared with these guys, and that just I've observed in the past 5 years, I've lost a number of coaches. But how can you have quality coaches when at one point this year we counted 20 coaches going through the SWAC over the course of the last 4 years? How can you have quality coaches when you're churning coaches like that?
Well, the coaches cycle has always been the coaches transfer portal has always been in effect. It just the players start transfer. The coaches now they're going to come in. They're going to be successful at FCS, and then you're going to have to fight off the group of 6 or however many those lower and mid level.
No, they were getting fired. They weren't. These coaches weren't elevated. These coaches was getting fired. You understand? Like Southern ran through. Southern has been through 5 coaches in 5 years. Yes,
you're right. That has been something to watch. I mean, first, that's a lot of money, continuous pay, because they're paying probably 3 coaches at Southern.
Yeah. Grambling has had 3 coaches. You know, even your beloved FAMU, once they make the hire, you know, within the next couple of weeks, they're gonna be on their 3rd coach in 5 years. So yeah. So
in 3 years, Willie coached 2023. So 3 coaches in 3 years.
Yeah. Hey, let me say this too about why I think these jobs should be given to Black college coaches who are experienced, who have been through the gauntlet. I'm not just hiring a guy because he's a Texas Southern graduate or he HBCU guys, but coach them call him a career coach, and especially when he's from HBCU. He knows walking in the door what to expect. You know what I mean? He knows, especially if a guy has been around and seen it, and not only just understand the X's and O's. That's to me, as my experience as being in an HBCU, that's what you know. It's everything else around the program. You know, it's a program. It's a system. You got to have a system, been in championship systems. And we don't look at, you know, one thing Rocky said, we don't look at resumes. We go out and hire a coach, you know, because, and he had never been in the championship, never been.
Frat brother, homeboy, alumni.
Right. And that's who we are. And then now we're getting into hiring former players from the pros. You know, it's just, and they come through, they make all the money, they don't work for nothing. And then when they come through, they talk about how bad our programs are, what we don't have, and we understand that going in. And there's a bunch of coaches, as he said, it's been over in the last 20 years. I mean, every coach who have won a championship is almost on the shelf in Black college football. It's on the shelf. And it just ain't right. And we keep turning over and turning over and turning over and turning over.
So
you know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this, Vaughn. Mm-hmm. Do you, and FAMU's going through a hiring cycle. Sometimes, when my man here, JT, says the standard is the standard, I don't know what the standard is. From school to school, the criteria is different, right? But I'll just ask you as alumni, do you want a guy with a reputation or do you want a guy with a resume? I'll just ask you that.
I need a resume. I need a resume who has proven to be a winning coach, because there have been a couple of times we've hired coaches that have had losing records and they lost here. They've lost at FAMU. I don't think Cozy had a winning record, and I just won't name other coaches. But I think hiring a coach who has had success. Willie Simmons was a winner before he got to FAMU. He won at FAMU, and he's obviously a winner after leaving FAMU. He's that reputation and the resume. He had both.
Yes.
He was a rare that had both. If I had my preference, I would like both. A person who's known for building programs and his record shows that he can sustain it, with the correct support.
Why doesn't a school like FAMU just go out and hire the best available HBCU coach?
Because there have been so many athletic directors and presidents that it's almost been a whim on those people's radars, as opposed to a process that's, like I said, I talked to Herb Reinhardt tonight, who was proud of Tremaine, right? Valdosta State, former long-time athletic director. He hired good coach after they were like the North Dakota State. Keep hiring good coaches, keep winning, win a national championship every few years. It was the consistency in his hiring that did it. But when you bring people in who have never hired a head coach and expect them to hire a coach, they don't know what, just like you said, they don't know what the standard is.
And then, we go out and pay these hiring services $30,000 and giving this money to these who's never been on a college campus.
Hey, fam, you paid 50 to 70 only to hire the guy who's already the interim. You didn't even have to. Hey, you could have gave that money to the kids.
And they get these hire services has never been on the HBCU campus. And then we hire these ADs that ain't qualified, like as you said earlier, that's not qualified. They never played football, don't know about the game, and go out and hire. It's got to be their friend or a friend of a friend, because they don't look at resumes. If they looked at resumes, we got Melvin Spears on the shelf, national championship coach. L.C. Cole on the shelf, national championship coach. James Goody, Ricky Comji, all these cats on the shelf, and not even some of them not even on the sidelines. So I said, I'm glad that you asked that, Rocky, about is it the resume or is he?
Vaughn, hold on. Well, let me get in here real quick, because Vaughn, because this is important for the FAMU people. So we asked a lot of. I'm trying to get some specific stuff. But for a lot of FAMU people, there's a lot of names. So Quinn Gray is one. So I'm gonna just throw out a couple of names that you've heard. What do you think about the fit for the guys and stuff like that? And again, we know they may not come, may not, but again, as they say, you don't know until you shoot your shot. And these are some of the names that have been heard: the Deshaun Jacksons, the Tremaine Jacksons, the Trey Olivers, Teddy Bridgewater, Dr. Parker, the Coach Nobles down in West Florida, Ed Reed. Some of these names, I'm pretty sure people have called you. So those names I've named, what do you think?
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.